He's an iconic character, but in other ways he's not. I mean, the original, the 1939 film is called The Wizard of Oz. The book was called The Wizard of Oz, but he doesn't really appear until the end. And he's in that rendition. He's an older man. So when I took on the role, I didn't really have that much pressure to kind of behave in a certain way. I could make it my own. Even before I signed on, the writers and Sam Raimi, the director, already had a spin that I really liked. The character is not a straight heroic kind of character. He's a little bit of a cad. He's a little selfish. He's slightly flawed. He's fun, but he has a few issues that he needs to work out in Oz. And I think that's what I was most attracted to.
I love working with Sam Raimi. I think he's one of the greatest directors, and we had such a great time in Detroit for 6 months. And
Mitchell Kapner wrote the screenplay, and it was based not on any one of Baum's books, but on a number of his books. Baum wrote in books 2, 3, 4, and 5 little bits and pieces of how the wizard got to the land of Oz and who he was before back in Kansas and what happened to him. So I think what Mitchell Kapner did, our screenplay writer, is he took those different elements and he put them in chronological order. And then he wrote a screenplay based on that.
It was really part of the character. It was really important to be in those tight corsets with those long false lashes and with all that lipstick and, heavily made up. And it was very I felt like an old 40s movie star, like that.
The costumes were really fun. The costume department itself was really fun. It felt like it went on for miles and miles, and bolts of fabric spilling out of closets. And so it was fun to be invited in on the collaboration and to watch something go from a drawing on a page to evolving through ideas and then to being its final form.
There's some characters that Baum wrote about, like the China Girl or Chinatown, that hadn't been seen in the original Wizard of Oz movie, that is going to be seen here in tonight's Oz the Great and Powerful. Also, although we'd seen the flying monkeys from the Wicked Witch of the West in the original Wizard of Oz, what we haven't seen is the fact that they can talk, and they're actually very intelligent and gentle creatures.
Well, filming the monkey, capturing him was tricky. Sometimes I was squatting down in a blue onesie, and sometimes I was in a booth with cameras all over me. Sometimes I would operate a puppet. So there were lots of different ways we had to capture it, because it's a tricky thing to have an animated character with live action people.
I think almost every shot in the film was an effect shot. And Robert Stromberg, who won an Oscar for Avatar and another one for Alice in Wonderland, did all the designs for it. And he told me he was very influenced by early Disney designs and I guess going back to Snow White and Pinocchio. And I've actually been showing those films to one of my classes at UCLA, and I can see a lot of inspiration in those films.
I feel like if you're going to pay a ticket, the expensive tickets these days, you might as well see something interesting, So I try and push everything a bit to some sort of dreamlike state, or somewhere between reality and surreal images.
So it's really a screenplay inspired by the Land of Oz, by the works of Frank Baum, but it's an original work. So when you say it's the land we know, it is. It's all of Baum's creations, his characters, his world, but it's an original story that I don't think the audience is aware of yet, as to who the wizard was and how he came to be the wizard.